So here we are, everything's cranking. We're over leveraged though, in terms of houses and investments and things like that. And it's the flywheel that you feel like you're at the pinnacle. But there's a key factor of what happened here. And you're gonna hear this term Operation Simplify is like something that we installed in our life in terms of the way that we started to make decisions in our life. Chantel and I, when we got married, and shortly thereafter, I went into my mentorship with the master's program through my spiritual father, Bob Shank, the founder, and dove in really hard with him of really understanding so many aspects of life mastery, preparing me for my life mission, ultimately to find my calling and live out my unique ability in glorifying God with my business. And that was a really important process that I was in during this time. So everything's cranking, and I'm also getting this learning because I wanted more upgrades, right? And I'm mentoring these creatives, the publishing company's going, all of that is happening, raising a family, multiple properties. But I took Chantel out on a date night. When part of session 4 in the master program, which we call TMP, I go out on date night and with her, and I'm just like, I could just tell she's what I call like dying on the vine. Here's my best friend, really working really hard and wanting to, be there more for our special needs son and our daughter. And what hit and what we were in the midst of and not realizing at the moment was the recession. And when the 2008 through 2010-11 crisis hit, in terms of the housing market and everything just went upside down. And before we made all these decisions, I first asked her a question, and I said, "Baby, if you could have things any way you want, what would it look like?" And she said, "I probably wouldn't stop doing hair. I would just stop doing it where I'm doing. I wouldn't have this partnership. I would wind that down, and I would come home and I would work with Noah, and that's what we would do." And the recession hits. I'm with her on that night, and I said, "Babe, let's make a decision that we're no longer going to make the decisions in our life based on money. Let's make a choice to base the decisions off our life by how fruitful we will be and how productive we will be on this earth." So it's one thing to be productive, but it's another thing to be significant. Like I don't want to be productive and be successful. Plenty of people can teach you how to do that. Plenty of people can show you how to do it. I'm about, how do I not just become successful? How do I become significant? So more of that to come. But for us, we had to really kind of do this self-imposed, not only assessment, recalibration, but then make all these choices behind that new plan. And so here's what that looks like, and something that you might want to consider as you look at what we call Operation Simplify. When you start making motivations around your decisions based on quality of life, how fruitful you're going to be, how productive you're going to be, those are 3 very important factors. Why? Because Chantel and I had to realize that we needed to live with a true north. You spend a majority of your business in your life building a life, getting kids, getting a career, getting a business going, becoming successful, proving that you can do it, and then consuming it. And like I said, consumers. When you do Operation Simplify, it's undo a majority of that because you realize you built the wrong ladder up against the wrong building of success. What do I call it? I call it consuming the blessing. You're just taking what God's blessed you with and consuming it for yourself. You're missing the entire point of why you are here and what a family is for. Whether you're of faith or not, we are. And we found that the biblical moves that we made are paying massive dividends that you'll hear about. But what prompts a family, what prompts a couple like us in our 40s to say, we are going to dismantle everything that's been built and take a wrecking ball and a machete to all of it? We're going to take a wrecking ball and machete to our time, our talent, our money, the people that we work with, the people that we hang out with, the type of team that we're going to have, the type of studio we're going to have, how many buildings are we going to have, what are we going to invest in? So it's almost like a full overhaul, starting from scratch again, thinking like, oh, I thought we did it right. You did do it right, but what you want now is way different than just building a really amazing company and becoming successful. The outcome now is a way bigger goal, a way bigger true north, which is my logo with the N with the compass logo of that true north of like, if I have that established, that is going to create such a terrifyingly exciting adventure of what God wants to do with us together as a unit versus me just saying one-sided relationship, God bless us, and we're going to use it all. So Chantel and I made a choice that night. I said, if you could have it any way you want. And she goes, I'd wind down the salon and I would come home, work with Noah and do hair part-time. And we did that night. And she goes, I feel like I've lost 350 pounds. I wanted to release her of that burden. Now, here's why it's terrifying. Recession. I'm barely making any money. And any money that I've been making for the last 5-10 years have been putting it back into the company, constantly reinvesting in the farm, constantly upgrading, constantly more website, more land. Like I was always investing. So we were sowing, we weren't reaping. I mean, we were reaping a lot of success, but I'm taking all the winnings and putting it back in. You follow me? So that we can stay into that game. But what prompts a family to make that radical of an adjustment on life? That is when you have to redefine what true success is. And that was what our true north looked like, was growing from success to significance. We'll talk about that, but let me tell you first, even though I've established what we wanted and the life that we wanted to have, and I'll tell you what that looks like in a minute, but I really want you to understand for yourself, you're probably going to need to sit and talk with God and saying, rearrange the furniture. And I'm going to give you permission, God, to do whatever rearranging you need to do in my life to put me in a position where I'm going to live my most optimal, most optimized version of my true self, to glorify you in the process, bring as many people to you in the process, doing what I love. Okay, hold on a second. There's a few things that you're going to realize. And one, we were on the wrong currency. We were on the wrong currency. We were aiming at the wrong target. And we were investing in all the wrong places. So wrong currency and wrong places. And once you find that out, which I did, and the why I'm sharing it with you is like, oh my gosh, it was like a hot pan. Like, oh, my hand's off. Like I gotta get this installed as soon as possible. So here's the Operation Simplify part. In a minute, I'll share with you the whole idea of what it means to go from success to significance. But there's the verse that you've heard of, he who's willing to lose his life for my sake is surely going to gain it. Minimizing my life, our life as a family, to put us in a position to be more fruitful, more productive, and doing more of what God's called us to do meant I needed to get rid of. I thought, oh, the American dream is gather all you can, leverage all you can, and parlay it to the next investment and just build wealth that way. Again, wrong currency, wrong target. So we let a house go to foreclosure. We let a house go to short sale. We went back to our original home. I had the gallery. I had another 3-story building that was another space. And then just before COVID, we got rid of all 3, consolidated, built out a really rad studio on our property. Then said, hey, we're going to put me, if I'm the goose that lays the golden eggs in terms of the ideas and the assets and the farm, like the seed, we need to get me in a place where I can write amazing books, paint amazing paintings, be inspired and be like inspired in my surroundings. It's a big part of who I am and what I do. Like I do really well in environments that are stimulating on a creative level. So you as a creative need to understand that is a really good criteria. What's going to put you in a position to create the best, to output the best. And most of it's going to be, you need to simplify your life, give yourself 4 times more time off, get the right people in your life to do all of the work that you're not supposed to do. Our priorities were out of whack. The master's program for me basically said not only giving permission to do everything on a fruitful level and productive level, simplification basically said, Chantel's my number one client. My marriage is my number one representation of my relationship with God, my masterpiece of my kids. And if I'm not meeting with my Father through spirit time with him every single day, working out every single day. I mean, when I was in Operation Simplify back in when we were getting rid of our homes and everything, I was 268 pounds. I want to get to 200. I wanted to get to about 220. I'm at 222. Have held that for years. 15% body fat. I'm like, I want to be on this earth to be fruitful longer. I can't do that if I'm dead. TMP helped me with that structure, that foundation of life mastery of saying, listen, I want to be able to get my house in order, have the foundation so that I can have this life mission, sustain it, be here to do it, and to do it well. So I had all my priorities out of whack, but then all these right ingredients, but then how do I bring it into that system and that sequence? And so for me, Operation Simplify said, we're going to get rid of things that are non-performing assets. So if you were to do this in sequence, I would tell you this. Look at everything in your life that is a non-performing asset. What does that mean? Well, for me, if it doesn't underwrite things which are eternal, it's dead weight. It's taking life from me. It's sucking life from me. And most entrepreneurs, out of ego and out of fear of letting something go, because I worked my whole life for this, will hold on to things too long and it's costing them more money than they think. Multiple properties, are they all serving you? Are they being leveraged for that which is eternal? For me, that's my barometer. Are all those properties fruitful? Well, if they're all income properties, maybe that'll help me underwrite that which is eternal. That's just in the way that you structure it. So Operation Simplify meant I had to look at all of my assets in life. My marriage, my kids, the business, my time with God, me personally. If I've deferred, which I did, deferred my weight, deferred my learning, deferred my mentorship, deferred. I was the last. I put myself last on everything so that I could be a great provider for my kids. And, I became a ghost and I was just a provider. I'm like, this can't be the American dream. My wife's taking care of the kids. I'm underwriting everything. This job became a curse. This became a burden rather than a blessing. And you see where that can get in a funk. Then you add the recession to it. Then you add Operation Simplify to it, because I realized this. I was not living. I was existing and I was just consuming. And I'm like, I'm missing the mark. I'm missing out on what the true intent for my life was. I'm like, my creativity is just dying on the vine. So Operation Simplify said, what if we recalibrate everything, ask the Lord to rearrange the furniture, which he did. Was it fun? No. But the only way that we were ever going to be able to graduate to true significance of a life well lived, that when I stand before the judgment seat of Christ, I stand before my Heavenly Father and go, well done, well done. You're going to be entrusted with very, very much. That was all determined on what I did down here. So what I want to unpack with you is I want to help you see what it looks like to go from this massive pruning crucible. And in that crucible, by the way, that's not just like, oh, we're going to make everything simpler and get everything simple. And my stepmom passed away to cancer. We had frivolous lawsuits against us. The moment I show you what we signed up for with significance, you're going to see the resistance that came. Operation Simplify and everything else to take us out, literally to shut our family down and my creativity down from ever getting out to the world. So just when I thought I went through the worst trauma back when I was a kid and the worst stuff in growing the business, hey, the gnarliest rogue waves to shut the whole thing down, and that crucible was on the horizon. Because when I show you that what we signed up for in terms of significance, you are either going to, as a creative, you're going to either retreat back to what's known and comfortable and be risk adverse and not take any territory and just say, oh, I'm going to get myself insulated from challenges. That's an option, but you'll live with regret for the rest of your life. And you'll know in your gut, you are not being your true authentic self. But if I'm going to help you grow from this amateur to pro to this, how can I actually build this into a full system to become successful? I will have missed the mark in this time together if I just helped you become more successful and didn't show you how you could get the ultimate upgrade of full significance? That's what I really want to unpack.